This man was lying on the ground with an arrow piercing through his neck. He attempted to speak, but couldn't. Brett reassured him to stay calm. She understood he is struggling to breathe. After checking his oxygen levels, which were normal, she determined sedation wasn't necessary, and it was best for him to continue breathing on his own. Since the arrow couldn't be removed, Kelly suggested using a cervical collar. However, the arrow was too long for transport. So Kelly asked for a whizzer saw and a tool bag while explaining that bolt cutters would crush the arrow into splinters. After using a suction device to clear the blood from his mouth, they clamped the arrow with pliers to minimize vibrations during cutting. But when the saw touched the arrow, the man groaned in pain. Brett quickly halted the process, realizing the vibrations were putting pressure on his throat. They wrapped bandages to prevent more air from entering. Once secured, the firefighters resumed cutting the arrow shaft. They successfully shortened it and finally placed him on a stretcher.
A man had a dart in his head, scaring the paramedics. His friend that the man had asked Kevin to throw the dart at him. However, the dart was at least an inch long and the man wanted to pull it out himself, but the paramedics stopped him, warning that the dart might have extended into the brain. It turned out the man had placed a lime on his head and had his friend try to hit it. Despite the warnings, he still wanted to remove the dart, but Brett quickly intervened. Foster prepared a stabilizer to secure the dart when the man's friend jumped in to cause trouble. Another person dragged him aside, accidentally nudging someone else, creating chaos. Fortunately, the firefighters arrived in time and quickly took control of the situation. Amid the commotion, the man accidentally punched Stella. Foster wanted to assist, but Stella told her to focus on those still needing care. Ignoring the warnings, the man forcefully pulled out the dart and immediately fainted.
High-voltage power lines fell into a pool, trapping a little girl in the middle of the water. Her nanny attempted to save her, but tragically died from electrocution. At that moment, Emma's father rushed outside to help, but a man pushed him down, warning him that the water was carrying 5,000 volts, and anyone who touched it would be killed. He instructed them to keep Emma on the raft. The couple worked to calm their daughter, but the power couldn't be shut off right away, leaving Emma in constant danger. Spotting an inflatable killer whale, Buck considered riding it to rescue her, but Abby warned him of the risks. She took a knife from him and cut off the metal nozzle of a rubber hose. They stretched it across the pool, allowing Emma to grab hold of it. Suddenly, an explosion went off behind Buck, but he and Abby continued until Emma reached the edge. Abby gently took her hand and quickly pulled her out of the water, finally bringing Emma to safety. Soon after, the Department of Water and Power shut off the electricity.
The boy shouted for help, saying his friend's finger had been blown off. They had been playing with fireworks, and his friend tried to set off 5 at once, which exploded in his hand. The paramedics quickly arrived to assess the situation. The boy tearfully said he couldn't find the missing finger, and his friend said he had searched everywhere but couldn't locate it. Casey urgently called the team to help with the search and requested a thermal imaging camera. Meanwhile, Casey noticed a group of young people still setting off fireworks nearby, which got him frustrated. He called out to the boy, asking him to stop them before they got hurt as well, but they ignored him and nearly hit the paramedics with their fireworks. When Casey told them to knock it off, one of the youths pointed a firework directly at him. It grazed Casey, burning the side of his neck. Realizing they were in trouble, the group quickly fled. Fortunately, Casey's injury was minor, and the paramedic cleaned the burn, which would take a few days to heal. An employee at a cement factory accidentally fell into a cement silo, and firefighters quickly climbed to the top. Looking through the hatch, they saw that half of his body was trapped in the cement, making it difficult for him to breathe. They told him to stay calm while waiting for the ladder and anchor point to be secured before beginning the rescue. Suddenly, the supervisor climbed up and suggested opening the bottom release valve, but the firefighters warned this would destabilize the cement. Ignoring their advice, the supervisor opened the valve, making the situation worse. Just then, the man struggled to breathe. With the ladder ready, firefighters lowered an air quality monitor and rappelled down. They placed a backboard on the cement to reduce pressure and tied safety ropes around the man. Realizing he was close to suffocating, they extended an air duct to provide more oxygen, restoring air levels. The lieutenant then opened the release valve, allowing the cement to slowly flow out. The firefighters dug around the man, reducing the suction until most of his body was free. They quickly closed the valve and pulled him out. Paramedics gave him an IV and oxygen, and he slowly regained his breath.
A man became trapped in a wood chipper after attempting to kick away a large branch, which caught on his pants and dragged him in. His partner explained that he had already turned off the machine. However, Bowden insisted that they needed to disconnect the battery to avoid further surprises. Meanwhile, the other firefighters discussed how to dismantle the machine. At this point, the man anxiously asked if he would lose his legs. The paramedic reassured him while assessing the damage, noting that one leg was bleeding heavily and also applied a tourniquet. As the firefighters worked on disassembling the engine, the man cried out in pain. Finally, he was pulled free from the wood chipper and placed onto a gurney.